anti-heroes out there. Two favorite uncles from the Chicagoland area back at it. We're here in November, kicking off 31 days of no, I'm kidding. Back at it tonight, going back into the regular TV shows and movies. I'm Logan Myers. That's my good friend over there.
I'm Henry Hill. We are going back into our regularly scheduled reviews of TV shows and movies, non-horror related this week, of course. We are covering a TV show that was on HBO Max for a couple months there. It's the second season in the DC universe. James Gunn, his creation, his baby. The second season of Peacemaker.
You met your own self from a parallel dimension? You're wearing his clothes.
You think I bought this? That's painful.
Yeah, that's right. This wild meathead is back at it with the brand new season. Of course, I'm talking about the Peacemaker here. John Cena playing the title character here. You know, he was introduced in James Gunn's The Suicide Squad that came out in 2021. Of course, the first season of this came out in 2022, so 3 years later, picking up in season 2 here with the goofball himself, Peacemaker, and this ragtag team of misfits behind me. And, you know, last season, Peacemaker dealing with a lot of stuff, trauma, family, saving the world, all that kind of stuff. And it kind of sets up where he's at with this season. Of course, all these characters all growing and changing at the same time.
The relationship between John Cena's character and everybody else there, his lovable group of misfits, as James Gunn loves to do. He loves to bring the gang together and play off the relationships within, all the friendships there, all the returning characters, all, everybody that we've grown to love over just these, the one season. But the first season did a great job of introducing us to these all new characters, we weren't familiar with, and getting to know them. And then the second season kicking off and bringing a little heartbreak to the group where Chris, of course, Peacemaker is name in the show, Chris, he seemingly goes to a whole different dimension, one that involves his family, his father, played by Robert Patrick, and then his brother. And in this dimension, they're all superheroes and everybody's alive. And, he's trying to go back and maybe change some relationships, dealing with Chris and his relationship with Amelia Harcourt. In the first season, they had their ups and downs. And in the second season, like, he's still thinking about her nonstop. He's basically obsessed with her. So he's hoping in this new world, he can, kind of work through that relationship and like finally find love with her. But of course, it being Peacemaker, him going to this other dimension opens up all these other problems for the rest of the gang in the real world. And they have to go and somehow step into that other dimension and find Chris and save the day. Because as they find out when they go to that other dimension, not as all as it seems, it's not the same world that they left when they went through that portal.
It's like the multiverse kind of thing, isn't it? Kind of what they're going
It
for this
is.
season.
Yeah.
Really interesting setup. The first episode of the season was really interesting, of Chris kind of killing Chris. It sets up the rest of, the season, of course, and all these characters and, different dimensions and things like that. But yeah, the one thing that stood out to me is John, his friend John Economos, or whatever the name is. He's kind of the techie nerd guy. Hilarious. He
Yeah.
really carried the comedy this season, where I felt like the rest of the cast, not so much. First season, just thinking back a few years ago watching this, it was so ridiculous, over the top, hilarious. And this season just didn't have that comedy brought to it. More dramatic, I would say, this season.
Yeah.
More down in the dumps, Chris or Peacemaker in this season, dealing with a lot and his family and all that comes with that, the heartbreak. But yeah, I just didn't have that comedy I was hoping for this season. The writing, I don't think the writing was as strong this season. Wasn't really keeping me engaged and excited to watch each episode. And it definitely started to drag towards the middle of this season, where at the end it was okay, but right in the middle it just started dragging a little bit. But anyways, there's some good performances here for the most part. I like the cast behind me. I think they have good chemistry. And I will say one thing that comes to mind too, the music in the show was really fantastic this season. Of course, the intros I have in these episodes, crazy dance sequences and music, the 80s hair metal, was awesome, but lackluster part was definitely the writing.
Yeah, I agree with you. I was more involved in season one, found it more funny, more engaging. It was more interesting. This one, they tried to up the ante here and tie it in with the, Superman universe, and they're trying to do too much. I feel like while the focus was on Chris and him going through the multiverse, like it felt like season one was, just more engaging and more funny. This one had a little too much drama for me. Like it was all about the relationship and Chris trying to get with Amelia the whole time, and her kind of going back and forth between liking him and thinking he's an idiot, and it's just playing with the same tropes over and over again throughout the season here. The first couple episodes were good, and then I felt like you mentioned, like towards the middle episodes, it kind of drug on to the end. And, there were several cameos that enjoyed. I liked seeing Michael Rooker show up in the season there. That was funny. Seeing his character play some ridiculous character with long hair and going after the Eagles. And another actor that I liked seeing here this season was Tim Meadows. He's from
Yes.
SNL.
Oh man.
He was funny. Had some really funny lines too. It was cool seeing him show up and having a bigger role here in this season was cool. But like you mentioned, yeah, this show, the reason why it works so well is the main cast there. I like this group of people here. I just felt like the writing wasn't as great, with them all together this year. It kind of separated them, and it took too long to bring them all together again. It was like them kind of missing each other the whole time, whereas the first season they were all together and got to, bounce off each other's personalities. It just worked better that first season. The second season, too, with Chris going to this different alternate reality and his scenes with his dad, Robert Patrick, and his brother there. His dad's a huge racist asshole, and the whole, world that they went in was basically a universe of racists. Basically, it was kind of like the Nazi universe. And they finally find that out when the group goes through the portal, and then the gang's there, and they find out that they're basically in, it's not the same world that they left, that's for sure, and they have to get out. Like you mentioned, yeah, the intro and everything. It was a different song this year, and over time, I got to enjoy that song, and we got to see the cameo by that band at the end in the last episode, along with some other hair band just for no reason. And then, of course, the other big development this season that they were teasing all along was like the big cameo. Everybody figured it was going to be Superman. If you were waiting for Superman, you didn't get that, but you kind of got somebody else in the Superman universe. We won't spoil it in case you haven't seen it. But that one was kind of okay. It was cool to see that character, but it wasn't worth all the hype that surrounded it. Going forward, I guess this season's kind of going to involve and go into the next Superman movie, so we'll have to see how that plays out. But from what I've read, they're not going to do any more seasons of Peacemaker, which is a bummer because I would like to see more and would like to see another season, reminiscent of that first season, which I thought was overall stronger and funnier and just better overall. But this season wasn't a complete waste. I just was a little let down compared to the first season. So with that being said, I am going to give the second season of Peacemaker, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 John Economos hair pieces.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you, my man. I was kind of let down by this too because I really enjoyed the first season. So I was looking forward to binging this. Ended up watching it a few days after Halloween. I was let down for the most part. It started off strong, ended strong in the whole middle. Meh. A lot of problems with the writing. I think some of the best parts of the show are definitely the new faces that show up in this. Another one we didn't bring up earlier, Rick Flag Sr., Frank Grillo. I thought he
Mhm.
was awesome in this
Yeah.
character. His son getting killed by Peacemaker, right? And he was a big part of the comics, so I loved his character in this, and then everybody else, Tim Meadows showing up and all the new characters. You were saying Michael Rooker, I thought was fantastic, and Eagly, of course, the
Mhm.
old bald eagle, the mascot here, always fantastic, great CGI, and typical James Gunn fashion, ridiculous, oddball characters you usually don't care about, but he makes them enjoyable. to watch. I was hoping, they would bring this back for one more season, iron out some of these issues I had with it and go out strong. But overall, kind of just meh season for me. Didn't love it, didn't hate it. I just thought it was okay. And with that being said, I'm gonna give season 2 of Peacemaker 3 out of 5 John Cena hair pieces. Anyways, want to hear from all you comic book nerds out there. What did you like about Peacemaker season 2? What didn't you like about it? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to hit subscribe. Also, check out these wild uncles on Facebook, X, and Instagram, and our website, Cinephellas.com, for the latest, greatest TV, movie news, and reviews.
Woo! And reviews. If you guys love reviews, you're going to want to visit this here channel because we're back with a vengeance in November, reviewing all the shows and movies that we neglected over the 31 days of horror. And there's going to be a lot of them dropping this month. Some new movies hitting the cinema that we're excited about: Predator Badlands, Running Man, Keeper, the new Osgood Perkins movie. A lot of good stuff, a lot of good shows. The new Vince Gilligan show with Reese Seahorn is coming on, Pluribus from Apple, so we'll be back to review that. A lot of interesting shows and
Stranger
movies, so make
Things.
sure. Oh, what's that? Oh,
I
dude,
don't know.
that's
I don't remember.
I know it's been so long, and that one's like I still don't believe it's coming back because it's been so long since the last episodes. It feels like it's at this point not going to happen. It feels like it's just like some made up thing that we're telling ourselves that Stranger Things is coming back for the final season. So of course we're going to be reviewing all those. The first one of those is going to drop right before Thanksgiving. So of course we'll be back to review all those and more on this here channel. So thank you guys for watching, and until the next Cinephellas TV review, I am Uncle Henry Senior.
And I'm Frank Grillo signing out till the next TV review. Cheers!
Cheers!